What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dominic Rich, and in today's video I'll be attempting to predict the 32 teams that would make the cut for the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup. I did this back in 2018 and it was a very successful video. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. My goal was to get about 25 right, and I think I did get 25 right. I may have gotten 25 or just a little above, but this would be my goal once again. I don't think I'm going to get all 32 teams correct, but my goal is to get about 25 correct. We know that World Cup qualifiers have started already, and ideally it would have been perfect to do this video before any ball was kicked. But I have been doing a lot of analysis on the various confederations, and I've put up videos on those confederations before they have started. So what this video is going to attempt to do is to bring all those predictions together. So before we get into the teams that will make the cut for Qatar 2022, let's talk first about the hosts. The host would be number one, and that's Qatar. So Qatar is on the list. Unlike previous World Cups, the holders do not get an automatic spot back into the next World Cup. So for France, they would have to hash it out during qualifiers in order to make it back to the grand event. Do I think France would make it to Qatar 2022? Yes, I do. And I have France as my number 2 team. So with Qatar and France out of the way, I have to give you 12 more teams from Europe since they have 13 allotted slots. In Europe, the 10 group winners would qualify automatically to the World Cup, while 3 teams would make it via the playoffs. I'm going to let you know the 10 teams that I think would make it directly to the World Cup. Well, I've already given you one, and that team is France. And I'll attempt to name 3 teams I think would come through via the playoffs. In my previous prediction videos, I have some teams topping their group, but that might not actually happen. So I'll get into that as well. From Group A in Europe, I think Portugal will qualify automatically. Even though recently the 2016 European champions or the inaugural Nations League champs have not really looked at their best, they still boast the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Diego Jota, Bernardo Silva, and hordes of other very talented players. And I think Fernando Santos' men will be back at the grand event. But I can't say that they're making the journey very easy for their fans at all. For Group B, I had Spain qualifying directly to the World Cup. I do think Spain will make the cut, but it seems like they might have to do it through the playoff path because, listen man, Sweden are doing the business. So from Group B, I have both Spain and Sweden making it to the World Cup. So that's 2 birds killed with 1 stone. Then we move on to Group C, where I think the current European champions Italy will qualify directly for the World Cup, and Switzerland, who were at the last World Cup in 2018, will make it via the playoffs. So I have both Italy and Switzerland coming through from Group C. Italy have been on a remarkable unbeaten streak, recently drawing to Bulgaria as of time of making this video, equaling the longest unbeaten stretch match in Brazil. It would take a lot to top the group ahead of Italy here. They have played really good football under Roberto Mancini. We know this. We saw what they did at Euro 2020, and I think they would make the cut after missing out on the 2018 event. As for Switzerland, like they did at the 2018 World Cup, I think they'll come through via the playoffs. They're a very gritty outfit currently managed by Vladimir Petkovic and boasts hordes of talented players playing all across Europe in the top leagues. So Switzerland and Italy from Group C. From Group D, I've already given you the holders France, which would make 6 teams so far from Europe. Didier Deschamps' men has been playing some good football, even though there's still some issues around selection in my opinion. They need to work on their defense. But in a group with Ukraine, Finland, Bosnia and Kazakhstan, the French will reign supreme in my opinion, and they will be back at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. 6 down from Europe, 7 more to go. In Group E, I have Belgium top in the group. I think they will go through qualifiers unbeaten. They already dropped 2 points, but I don't see any one of these teams in their group getting the better of Belgium or even pipping them to the top spot. Czech Republic looks good, but I think Belgium would make the cut directly. From Group F, I have Denmark qualifying directly to the World Cup. Denmark have already booked their place in my opinion. They could already start setting up shop over in Qatar because this team has been absolutely magnificent. Look at what they did at Euro 2020, despite the circumstances surrounding Christian Eriksen making it all the way to the semi-final. and Kasper Hjulmand has this team playing some world-class football. Denmark, you're going to Qatar. From Group G, which is a very tricky group, I have Netherlands coming through as the group winner to qualify directly. I know they haven't gotten off to a good start and have gone through couple managerial changes from Ronald Koeman to Frank de Boer, now Louis van Gaal, and that could affect the team. But I think overall, the Dutch would rally and they would end up topping the group and qualify for the World Cup after missing it back in 2018. From Group H, I have both Russia and Croatia making it to the World Cup. I don't know who's going to end up topping this group. I'm going to go for Russia to top the group and Croatia to go through the playoffs because that's the path they love to take. Barring 2002, every time they qualified for the World Cup, they went through to the playoffs. So I have Croatia and the 2018 hosts, Russia, making it to the World Cup, even though they recently sacked their very successful manager, Stanislav Cherchesov. So let's see what Valery Karpin will do with this team in terms of getting them back to the showpiece event. So 11 down, 2 to go. In Group I of UEFA qualifiers, I have England qualifying directly by topping the group. I think they'll go through the entire playoffs unbeaten, and Gareth Southgate's men would see if they could do better than they did last time and win the whole damn thing. Is it coming home? Let's see. And the last team I have qualifying from Europe is Germany. Even though they were poor at the 2018 World Cup, falling to the champions' curse by getting knocked out in the group stages, I think under Hans-Dieter Flick, who just recently took over from longtime manager Joachim Löw, will marshal his troops all the way to Qatar. So there you have it, UEFA wrapped. So let's see how many of these 13 teams I get right. Maybe one of these bigger teams will miss out, or who knows, maybe they won't. Let's wait and see. That's my prediction for Europe. Let me know yours down below. We will move on to Asia. So we're currently in the third round of AFC World Cup qualifiers where 12 teams were paired into 2 groups of 6. The top 2 teams from each group will qualify directly for the World Cup to take those 4 direct spots from Asia. There's also a half spot for the playoffs, that's for next round, and then the winner of that round will play an intercontinental final with a team from another confederation. The teams I got coming through from Group A are Iran and South Korea. The other teams in the group are Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and the UAE. For Iran, even though they started off really choppy during qualifiers, they pulled things back under the management of Carlos Queiroz, and they were able to come through the last round after a very, very terrible start. There was a crisis brewing, but I think they have evaded that crisis and they will make it back to the World Cup in Qatar. So Iran, pack your bags, you're going to Qatar. In terms of South Korea, they're in a very tricky group where all the other nations are in the Middle East and they'll have to do a whole lot of traveling for their away games. But I think with the quality they possess, they'll be fine. I think Paulo Bento is doing a great job with the team and he'll get them to the grand event once more like they have done from 1986 all the way to 2018. From Group B, I have Japan and Australia qualifying to the World Cup. The other teams in the group are Saudi Arabia, Oman, Vietnam, and China. I know games have already kicked off in this current round, and you guys may say, oh yeah, Japan lost to Oman, but guys, it's still early times. There's a lot of games to go, and remember, this is just all my predictions in one centralized video. So it's not like I'm using the current results to sway what I thought like months ago. You see what I'm saying? After they debuted in 1998, Japan has made it to every single World Cup since then. They're still under the tutelage of Hajime Moriyasu, and he's been doing a fine job with the team, albeit the hiccup against Oman. But I think they possess enough quality to come through from this very, very tough group. Japan, you're going to Qatar. The Socceroos Australia, currently under Graham Arnold, started off things really well. I do think they'll qualify. Since their switch from OFC to AFC, they have performed admirably in the Confederation, and I have no doubt about Australia making it back like they did in 2018. In terms of any teams coming through via the playoffs from Asia, this time around, I'm going to say no. It's up to the teams to prove me wrong. Oman, Saudi Arabia, even a Vietnam, who knows, a UAE and Iraq coming through from one of those groups, who knows, but let's see. But these are my 4 picks from Asia to make the cut for the 2022 World Cup. So I give you 13 from UEFA, the host Qatar, and 4 from Asia, which makes 18 teams. Let's continue. We got 14 teams to go. Let's move to South America, where my 4 picks to come through from South America directly are Brazil. Of course, we know they're the best team in South America, even though they did not win the last Copa America. They are going to go on a run and pick up record points like they did back in 2018. Tite's men have been performing very, very well in World Cup qualifiers and previous tournaments, and I have no doubts that Neymar and co are going to be back for the grand event in 2022. When you think of World Cups, you think Brazil. After all, they have 5, right? So let's move on. The next country, Argentina, current Copa America champions, Lionel Messi at the helm, Lionel Scaloni the manager. Look at the wealth of talent they have in their team, and I think their selection has been much better than previous years under previous managers. So I do have Argentina qualifying for the World Cup. Could they win it? Who knows? Messi's winning a lot of things these days on the international circuit, so let us see. Next team I have qualifying directly is Colombia. I have no idea where Colombia produced so much talent, but I think they'll make it to Qatar like they did make it to Russia, and they were in Brazil 2014 where they were very, very impressive. So I have Colombia qualifying for the World Cup. I don't need to elaborate too much on Los Cafeteros. The 4th team I think that would directly qualify from South America is Uruguay. 2-time World Cup champions Uruguay still hosts a horde of talented players. Suarez, Cavani, Jose Maria Jimenez, Godin, and co comes to mind, Muslera in goal. I think Oscar Tabarez is going to be back at the World Cup for one final hurrah before he retires. Uruguay, you're making the cut to Qatar. I do have a 5th team qualifying from South America, and that team is, surprise, I'm going to go for Ecuador to make the cut once again. I know they've been away from the World Cup for about 2 cycles, but I think they have been playing some wonderful football, and they have revamped their system and everything, and they have a lot of talented players coming through. And I could see them qualifying for Qatar 2022. Don't let me down, Ecuador. You're my wild card pick. Let's just put it that way. So now that we're done with South America, let's move over to Africa. For Africa, they reverted to the 2014 World Cup format, and we know that format is brutal. 10 groups of 4, the group winners go into a final round, and then the winners get paired against each other. So 5 versus 5. So even though you did well in the previous round, you could go into the final round and get knocked off. Egypt could attest to that. So Africa is a very difficult confederation to predict, but these are my 5 teams I think will make it to Qatar 2022. I won't go deeper into any analysis because I could end up sounding real stupid. Probably I am sounding stupid right now, but still. I'm going to go for the current African Cup of Nations holders, Algeria. They just put 8 past Djibouti, and they're looking good. The wealth of talent available to Jemal Belmadi, I can't see them missing out on Qatar 2022 like they did for the 2018 World Cup. Senegal, African Cup of Nations runners-up. They made it to the 2018 World Cup. They looked good, but because of indiscipline, they failed to move on to the next round. I could see Aliou Cisse's men making the cut, definitely. Nigeria under Gernot Rowe has been very consistent in terms of their appearances at the grand event. And I could definitely see them back at the World Cup where they would try to avoid Argentina this time around. Lots of talent in the team, and they have a very navigable group, but could they get past the final round? I think yes. So Nigeria, you're going to Qatar. My 4th team coming through from Africa are the Atlas Lions of Morocco. I've been quite impressed with this team. They have a lot of talented players in their squad, and they're currently under the manager Vahid Halilhodžić. Oh man, I can't say that name for to save my life. If they say Vahid Halilhodžić to save my life, you could consider me dead. But I think they'll come through and qualify for the World Cup for 2022 Qatar. The 5th team coming through, I have a surprise for you guys, and that's a debutant in Mali. That's my only debutant so far. So I hope the other teams prove me wrong and qualify so we could have more than one debutant. But please, Mali, just qualify so we could have a new team at the grand event. Like, it's getting a little boring now. You see what I'm saying? So I have Mali qualifying for the World Cup. They have hordes of talented players playing at a lot of top clubs in Europe, top leagues in Europe. And I expect them to do something good this time around. So now that we've done with Africa, let's move over to CONCACAF and wrap things up. My first team going through from CONCACAF are Mexico. Of course, El3 are World Cup regulars, the CONCACAF royalty, currently on the Tata Martino, and the team holds lots of top quality players. I can't see Mexico. I can't see them missing out on the next World Cup. So I have Mexico qualifying. I have a surprise pick for you guys, and that's Canada. Last making it in 1986. I think John Herdman's men are going to put up a very, very good showing and give a good account for themselves and make it back to the World Cup for only the second time. Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Tajon Buchanan, Junior Hoylett comes to mind, Stephen Estacio. This team looks good. I think they'll make the cut. Don't let me down, Canada. I know you'll be there in 2026, but I want to see you in 2022. The third team I have qualifying directly for Qatar are the US of A. They missed the World Cup back in 2018 after that dreadful night down in Trinidad and Tobago. But what they've shown us is that they have the quality to make the grand event once again. They won the inaugural final of the Nations League, and they recently won the 2021 Gold Cup with a depleted squad. So I do have faith, a little faith in Berhalter. I have a lot of faith in the guys, and I think they will qualify for Qatar 2022. Don't let us down, USA, man. We miss you. Or do we? And the fourth team I have qualifying from CONCACAF via the playoffs, however, is Los Ticos, Costa Rica. They're currently under Luis Fernando Suarez, and even though they have not been playing their best football like they had in 2014 and 2018, I think they'll make it to a third consecutive World Cup on the strength of Keylor Navas in goal. I think he's their savior. He's their saving grace. So look, squad is not as talented as it used to be. Doesn't have enough depth in my opinion. But I think they'll do just enough to make it through. So there you have it. My 32 teams qualifying for Qatar 2022 World Cup. As I said earlier, guys, I don't expect to get all the teams right. So use this for entertainment purposes only. That's what I like to say when I'm not sure about some things, because it's very difficult to predict the 32 teams that will make it to the World Cup. But guys, I'm going to give it a try. You do too in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like the video if you like it. From your boy Dominic Rich. Until next time, peace out. Rich Squad. And yeah, I don't have any team from Oceania making it. Sorry, New Zealand. Sorry. You do have a direct spot for 2026. So prepare for then. Peace.